Hello great minds, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be showing you how I created the Space Travelers Hub. It's a microverse project. I will be showing you the major functionalities, how I implemented the major functionalities to create this project. Okay, so I will show you how to make your navbar active. When you click on the links, you can see that there's an underline and it's active. I will also show you how to fetch data from the Rocket API, fetch the images, and the description, the name, the type, the ID. I would also show you how to toggle this button, the reserve rocket button, to toggle it from reserve rocket to cancel reserve, and to include this span, this reserved badge right there. So I'll also show you how to output all of the reserved on my profiles page. As you can see, I've clicked on two buttons and you would find out that they are outputted on here on the my rockets profile. Okay, this is a profile for my missions and my rockets. So I will be showing you how to implement these functionalities. The page would actually look like this, okay, because I'm not going to show you how to style it. This video is not for styling, it's just to help you to have an idea of how to go about this project. Okay, if this is what you are interested in, kindly subscribe and kindly comment in the comment section below if you have great ideas on how to go about creating the Space Travelers. Or kindly comment in the comment section and kindly click on the like button. So let's get started. You have to create your Kanban board and you should follow the microverse resource, especially the videos that we attached. So make sure you have your Kanban board ready and then go through each of what is in the Kanban board, each of the tasks. Check through it, plan ahead. Don't just start coding. Plan how you're going to go about it before you start coding. That's the very first advice I would give you. Now, the second thing is for you to set up your environment. Make sure you install the necessary dependencies, install your Create React application, install, React Redux, install the React router as well, install Exos. So just make sure you install all of these important things because they are necessary to enhance your project. The dependencies are very, very necessary. So last but not the least, make sure you install linters because Microverse would never accept your work if your project does not pass linters. So just make sure you have linters installed. On here, I have already created my React application. I've set up my environment and I'm good to go. I just want to show you some of the things that I've done as well. So I have in my index.js, I have my browser router, as well as my provider. My provider is for my store, the store that is coming from the Redux. Okay, and then the browser router is coming from my router. Okay, this is going to be used for the navigations. Now in app.js, I have just an H1 with I am happy on there. So this is what is currently on my page. I am happy. Yeah, I hope you are happy too as well. So I have nothing in my app.css, nothing in my navbar.css, nothing in my navbar.js. Okay, and I have no components at all. So we are going to be starting afresh from scratch. Okay, I will be starting with the navbar and I'll go straight there. So what we are going to do is to create this navbar. Yeah, we're going to create this navbar. Okay, and we're going to make each of the links here active. So I have a template already created for the navbar because I do not want to waste time. So I'm just going to copy the template that I have. You should take your time to create it to suit your taste, but you should just align with what you have been given. Okay, you should align with the project picture that you've been given. So I've also created a navbar component, and I've already imported my navbar.css as well, as you can see. So I'm just going to paste the template that I've copied. I'm going to paste it right here. Okay, so here we have an header. also have a nav, and we have a divs, two divs actually. So we have an error here saying planet is not defined. Planet is actually an image, this image. Okay, this image. So I'm going to create all of this right now. Okay. Yeah, planet from dot slash asset. It's in my asset slash planet.png. So planet is going to be there. And then we have space travelers orb as well. Then we need to include the links. This is the unordered list. We're going to create lists. Okay, we have three of them, one for rockets and the other for missions, the third for my profile. Now, what I want you to observe is that we need to import what we call nav links, and it's from the router. Okay, it's from the router dependency that I installed. So that is nav link, yeah, from React router DOM, yeah. So what we're going to do next in order to make our links active, because we don't just want a stagnant link, we want a link that is active when clicked upon, and there should be an underline, okay, as it is shown right here, as it is shown right here, right here, right here, yeah. So what I'm going to do is to include the nav links inside of my lists. Okay, so I'm going to bring that here, nav link. And what I will do next is to write my text rocket. And inside of this nav link, I'm going to have a two. 2 equals to, I'm going to have a string and we'll have a slash. So we are saying that this nav link should be linked to this part, okay? And in order for us to make this active, what we are going to do is to include class name. We can also use style, but I'm going to show you how to use class name to make your text active, okay? So I'm going to do that right here. So we're going to have two brackets inside of here. Okay, and inside the first bracket we'll have a curly braces and would say is active. Now, I want to say something. You see, when I put my cursor here, you can see that we have some information, property, navlink props.class name. I want you to pay attention to the two properties here, is active boolean, is pending boolean. We're going to be making use of is active boolean. So right here, we are going to say is active. If it's active is true, then give me a string, and that string is going to come from, is going to be a styling actually. So I'm going to make this string active link. Okay, and if is active is false, then I need empty strings. Okay, empty strings. I'm going to convert this to single quotes. I don't want double quotes. Yeah. So as I've said earlier, I'm making this rocket text active. And when I make it active, I want there to be an underline on this text. I'm including active link. Active link is the CSS class name actually, and I'll have a property text declaration underline attached to it.
Please note, you can make use of any class name. I just decided to use active link. You can use any class name of your choice. It's still going to work. Just make sure that you use the text declaration underline.
So firstly, I would like to copy the CSS style that I have. So the navbar.css, I'm just going to paste it right here, and I'm going to delete this. I'm going to change this activated link to active link. Now, before I show you what happens, I want to also include this nav link in the other lists. Okay, I want to include them there. So let's see what we have done, the magic that we have created. Yeah, so right now you can see that all of the links are underlined. They are active because this is just a single page. So I'm going to include my React router so that we'll be able to switch between these pages and you'll be able to see for yourself how these things work. So I'm going back to my app.js because this is the main container that I'm using, and I'm going to import my routes, import routes and route from React Router. Then I'll put a comma. I want routes as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up my nav bar. I'm going to wrap it up with routes and router. Now what I'm going to this is how I'm going to do it. Routes. Route is like the parent, okay, and the route without S is like the child. So I'm going to have route, okay, and it's a self closing tag. It's a self closing tag. So I have two of them. No, actually, I even need three. I need three of them because I have rocket missions and my profile. Right now, you see each of these route has paths, okay, and they also have elements. So I'm just going to include my elements as well. Element equals this. So I'm going to bring in a rocket component into this element, so that the router would, direct the path. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in rockets, and you see there's an error because it says rocket is not defined because I have no rocket defined truly. So we'll come to the component and we'll have a rocket component. Okay, new file, rocket.js. You can use JSX, it's all up to you. I'm going to have rockets. Okay, I'm just trying to define my rocket and saying export default rockets. Okay, so I'm going back to my app.js and I'm going to import this rockets, and you'll see that rockets will be defined on the app. Okay, import. Great, you can see that there's no more error, it's now defined. Yeah, so I'm going to do the same thing for missions, and before I do the same thing for missions, let's go back to rockets. I'm going to return something on this rocket component, and what I'll be returning is, let me just put a paragraph saying rockets. Okay, then I'll also create a new file, say missions. Please remember to always use capital letter at the start. Okay, rocket.js, missions.js, sorry, and then in components as well, I'm going to create a my profile. Yes, I'm going to copy this, okay, and I'm just going to change it. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it on my profile, and I'm just going to change rockets to my profile, okay, so that it will be easier and faster. I love, okay, my profile. Yeah, so I'm going to do the same thing for missions. Okay, missions. Okay, so I'm going to import missions and my profile into app.js. So I'm going to do that right away. I'm also going to do that for, yeah. So for our routes, is it routes or routes? So now we have created the routes successfully. Now let's look at the magic. Let's look at the magic. Let's refresh this page. What's the error about? Ooh, so many issues. So they said navbar is not a route component. All component children of route must be a route. So what it's just basically saying is that I'm not supposed to put navbar here. It should not be between the routes. So I'm just going to take navbar out of that place so that it's going to be all right and okay. And you can see our work is showing. And there's another issue. Can you spot the issue? All of my text, my links are underlined. That's because the text decoration on the line is on default. So I'm just going to turn it off. I'm just going to go to app.css, and I'm going to make my app to have zero text decoration. Okay, actually, I'm going to call the roots. I'm just going to call my margin 0, padding 0, as well as text declaration none. Okay. So now let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Yes, can you see that? So now we're on profile. We are the active page is my profile, and as you can see, my profile is underlined, and we have my profile because I wrote my profiles there. If you're on missions, you can see as well that missions is also active, and that makes its content active, and that is why we have an underline, beneath missions as well as rockets. So the next thing is to fetch data from the Rocket API, fetch the data and filter the data based on what we have been given here. We've been told to get the ID, the name type, and images, flick images from the data API, from the Rocket API rather. And we have been also given this API endpoint.
In order for me to display my data on my user interface, the data that I fetch from the API, the Rocket API, I decided to section my components into two, Rocket and Rocket item. So Rocket is the parent that houses the Rocket item, and the Rocket item is the individual list rendered on here. As you can see, they are objects that includes images, description, name. So that is what I've done right here. I just thought to show you so that you understand how I sectioned my work.
So I already have my rocket.js here. I'm only going to create a rocket item, okay, a rocket item.js inside of my component, because this rocket.js is the parent, as I've said, to my rocket item. So I'm going to create a rocket item.js. Yeah, so what we are going to firstly do is to create a folder, and that the name of the folder will be called rockets. Okay, then inside of the folder we create a slice, and we'll call that rocket slice.js. Great. So this is where all of our functions would be happening. I've already created a store.js inside of my Redux folder. So it's empty currently, but we are going to input it with some interesting things from the rocket slice.js. So first things first is to import. Because I'm using the Redux toolkit, we have to firstly import the create slice from Redux.js toolkit. Yeah, and then we're going to declare a function called, let's say, rocket slice. Okay, and that function carries the create slice, and yeah, this is where all our functions, all our magic happens. So inside our create slice, we have a name, a key with a name, and I'm going to name it rockets. Okay, I'm going to use small letter, and then we have an initial state. Okay, And my initial state, I'm going to call my initial state here. So initial thing that we're going to put there is the rocket data. Okay, or yeah, or you can put data, you can put anything. Okay, rocket data, which that's the initial state of our rocket. Going to call the loading states as well and make that false on the initial state. On reload, so there's an error here. Okay, and then I'm going to call the error key as well, and I'm going to set that to an empty string. So we would have an export default of rocket slice dot reducer. So let me just call that dot reducer. Yeah. So everything is going fine. It's going fantastic. So we have a reducers as well. And for now, my reducers is going to be empty, and we have extra reducers. Okay, and here extra reducer is going to work with the create async thunk. Is going to deal with the pending state, the fulfilled and rejected state. So without too much talking, let me show you how to fetch your data. So what you're going to do is to import create async thunk and Axios, because I used the both of them. Import. So now that I've installed Axios, I'm going to import Axios. So I'm going to, I'm going to have a function, the variable name gets data from server. So what I'm going to do here is to call my create async thunk, and it is going to have rockets slash get data. So that's its key from server. Okay, comma async. Okay, and it's an arrow function. Yeah. So we are going to use the try catch. Exactly. And what we're going to do here is to const a response. You can call it any way, anyhow, but this I like to call my, this I like to call my own. So I say await Axios dot get, because we are trying to get data from the API. So await Axios dot get. Then we're going to call the URL right there. So let me just copy and paste the URL. This is the URL. Let me just click on it and copy, because it's not easy to copy it like that. So yeah, this is a lot of information. That's why we need to filter it and get just few, we just need to get the ID and just a few things. So inside of, I'm going to call const base URL equals this. Okay, and I'm going to call my base URL. Okay, so